So over the past few weeks, I did a series where I ranked the top 10 players at every single position in the NBA right now, and now that I'm finished with it, I'm gonna pretty much cap it off with this with a video where I rank the top 10 players in the league overall right now. So yeah, before we get started, hit that like button if you enjoyed, since it really does help out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy this type of content. But without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get this video started. Now at number 10, I do have Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler in the 2021 playoffs, he wasn't very good to say the least. And that was an awful playoff run, but in 2022, he was a whole lot better. Regular season, he was really good for Miami, obviously, and of course, in the playoffs, the guy was a beast, to say the least. I mean, that's pretty much all you gotta say. He was just phenomenal in the playoffs, and, you know, offensively, I'll admit, he's not the best shooter, but he can still score the ball really well. He's still an extremely good playmaker. And along with that, Jimmy Butler is one of the best defensive players, you know, in the league. And last year, he did average 21 points per game, 5.5 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game, and 2 steals per game, shooting 48% from the field. Now at number 9, I do have Jayson Tatum of the Boston Celtics. Jayson Tatum, you know, having him over Jimmy Butler to some people might be bogus, but the reason why I have Jayson Tatum over Jimmy Butler is because I just think Jayson Tatum has, you know, a little bit better of an offensive game. I think he's more complete offensively. However, you know, Jayson Tatum, the big thing with him is just his consistency. He was extremely inconsistent last year. That was especially the case in the playoffs, but, you know, we know how good he is at his peak. As a scorer, he's just lethal, to say the least. He's not that bad of a playmaker. He's a good defender as well, an extremely good one, in fact. And, you know, again, when he's at his peak, he's one of the best players in the league. However, at his worst, the guy is someone who really shouldn't be in the NBA. So, again, Jayson Tatum, he just has to be consistent, and if he's more consistent next year, I could see him being in the MVP race, especially if, you know, assuming Boston's one of the best teams in the league next year. But I'm pretty much all I have to say for him. Last year, he did average 27 points per game, 4 assists per game, 8 rebounds per game, shooting 45% from the field and 35% from 3. Now at number 8, I do have Kawhi Leonard of the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard didn't play at all last year. However, that being said, you know, we know how good of a player he is when healthy. Now, that being said, you know, I will say Kawhi Leonard's extremely injury prone, and it's really, really annoying because, again, he's an absolute superstar when he's on the court. As a scorer, the guy's amazing. He can shoot the ball really well, and defensively, you know, I'll admit, I think, you know, some people act like he was like the San Antonio Spurs defender all the time, you know, right now. He's not, you know, that good of a you know, that level of a defender, because, you know, back then he was like insanely good, but you know, still a great defender. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. But yeah, again, Kawhi Leonard, one of the best two-way wings in the league when he's on the floor. He just has to stay healthy, but I expect him to be having an amazing season next year, assuming he stays mostly healthy. I'm not going to include any stats for this one, by the way, since, again, he didn't play at all last year. But, again, Kawhi Leonard, please just stay healthy. Yeah, anyways. Number 7, I do have Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant, I'll try and keep this one short. I mean, I think we all know the case with him. As a scorer, one of the best in the whole league. Not that bad of a playmaker, a very good rebounder, also a pretty good, an extremely good shooter. And defensively, I think he's also pretty good on that side of the ball as well. Now, reason why I got him at number 7 is, you know, one, the top 6 is insanely stacked. And along with that, I will say that in this past year's playoffs, he just wasn't very good. So, that definitely affected his ranking. But aside from that, KD's one of the best players in the league, of course, and last year, Durant averaged 30 points per game, 6 assists per game, 7 rebounds per game, shooting 52% from the field and 38% from 3. Now at number 6, I do have LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to try and keep this one short as well. LeBron James is still one of the best players in the NBA. The guy's a phenomenal scorer, phenomenal playmaker, a good rebounder, and he's still a very good defender, albeit, I think sometimes he does give up a little bit, which is a little bit annoying. But yeah, LeBron James, still one of the best two-way wings and players in the NBA. I think we've heard it like a billion times. Like, the only thing affecting his ranking is the fact that, the Lakers were a colossal disaster last year. That's the only thing that really affects his ranking. But last season, LeBron, he averaged 30 points per game, 6 assists per game, 8 rebounds per game, shooting 52% from the field and 36% from 3. At number 5, I got Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. Luka, it was maybe the best season of his career. He had a phenomenal regular season and a phenomenal postseason as well, where not only did he play at an insane level, but also he led his team on a very deep playoff run. They made it all the way to the conference finals, so it was a phenomenal year for him. And, Luka Doncic, he's a near triple-double machine. He's a very complete offensive player. He can do anything on that side of the ball, whether that be scoring the ball, shooting. He's also a really good shooter, a phenomenal playmaker, great rebounder, and defensively, he's not some lockdown defender, but he's definitely improved, and he's not a liability on that side of the ball. But yeah, all I gotta say about Luka is that one day he's gonna be a top 2 player in the league at bare minimum. Of course, Giannis exists, but yeah, that's all I gotta say for Luka. Last year, he put up numbers of 28 points per game, 9 assists per game, 9 rebounds per game, shooting 46% from the field and 35% from 3. Alright, number 4, I do have Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid in the past 2 seasons has really taken that next leap to being, a top 5 player in the NBA. When you look at him, he's a phenomenal scorer, a phenomenal rebounder, a pretty good shooter, I'd say. Also not that a very good defender, and I mentioned this in the top 10 centers video. He was a top 2 MVP candidate the past 2 seasons, and he also did lead his team to a top 4 seed in the East last year, despite the fact that the help around him wasn't amazing. But yeah, one could argue that he should have won MVP in those 2 seasons, but a certain someone exists, and I think you guys already know who it is, and I did mention that in the top 10 centers video. But yeah, Joel Embiid, he's just a phenomenal player, and that's really all I gotta say for him. Last year, he averaged 31 points per game, which led the league in that category. 4 assists per game, 12 rebounds per game, shooting 50% from the field. At number 3, I got Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors. I'll try and keep this one short. We've heard it so many damn times. Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter of all time. He's an elite scorer, elite playmaker, not that bad of a defender now. He used to be really bad, but now he's not too bad on that side of the ball. And of course, he led his team to the championship as the number 1 option. So yeah, Stephen Curry, also he did win his first Finals MVP. Forgot to mention that. But yeah, pretty much all I gotta say about him. Stephen Curry's just a legend. And last year, he averaged 25.5 points per game, 6 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game, shooting 44% from the field and 38% from 3. And at number 2, I do have Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. That was the guy who I was talking about in the Embiid segment, of course. I am a Denver Nuggets fan, so I tried to be as objective as possible, and I do think number 2 is a fair ranking. I think he is in that top 3 to 5 range. Of course, he's the back-to-back MVP, and even if you didn't think he should have won it, he was a top 2 MVP candidate in 2021 and in 2022. So, yeah. Also, of course, maybe the best offensive player in the NBA. He's also, his defense, I'll admit, it can be neutral, it can be good, or it can be bad. It's mostly neutral. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But yeah, main thing with him is, of course, his offense, because, he can score, play make, shoot, and rebound at an extremely high level. And, now that the Nuggets are finally healthy in 2023, at least I hope so as a Nuggets fan, now that they're healthy, I think that the Nuggets could definitely go on a deep title run, which is going to do, a lot for Nikola Jokic's legacy. But last year, he did average 27 points per game, 8 assists per game, and 14 rebounds per game, shooting 58% from the field. And finally, at number 1, I do have Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis, at 1... I think it's, number 1 is definitely a contested spot. There's a lot of guys you can put there, but the reason why I still got him at 1 is, first off, offensively, still a great player. I know he's not exactly a knockdown shooter, but, he can hit a jump shot occasionally, and, still a great scorer, a great rebounder, a great playmaker, and defensively, I do think he might be the best player in the NBA, because he can guard several positions, and he's a defensive player of the year candidate year in and year out, and he still leads his team to a whole lot of success. I know they lost in the second round this past year, and definitely needs to take some blame for it, but again, I think he is still the best player in the league, for some of the reasons I mentioned before. But last season, he averaged 30 points per game, 6 assists per game, 12 rebounds per game, shooting 55% from the field. And with that being said, that's the last top 10 of the calendar year. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. Again, like, subscribe, do all of that stuff, and of course, check me out on social media. Links to it are in the description below. But without further ado, I'm out, you guys.